Hey friend, I'm Dee Dee Sanogo. Thank you for coming back to my channel. I normally talk about being a wife, mom, and a founder, but today's episode is here talking about my recent hysterectomy and all of my updates, and I have so many nuggets to share, so please come along.
She's a wife, she's a mom, she's a founder. Girl, Dee Dee's in charge of what defines her. Starting a company even with the family can be somewhat demanding.
Welcome back to my channel. I am so pleased that you are coming back in to check on me, because I am doing this also to let you know that I am checking on you and I want you to have a successful recovery. Well, today we have to get into it, friend. I'm leaning in today because there is a lot to say. I had my surgery in February of 24 and it is now October. So I have a few months under my belt after this surgery and I just cannot wait to share with you. So before we get into it, please like and subscribe. This video is for you. I've been so amazed about the community that we are building here. The comments are lit. So if you have had a hysterectomy, if you are going to have a hysterectomy, are you recovering from a hysterectomy? Do you have a friend or a spouse that's getting ready to go through it? Please leave us a comment because we thrive off of our comments, guys. I think I've been the most pleased with the feedback that we've been getting about sharing this important information. So without further ado, let's get into it because, friend, it is time. It is time. Okay, so I took my notes because I have so many good things to share. Okay, so first is my life update. So my last update, I share with you about going back to work and how things are going. And so it has been amazing. I feel great. I feel great, friend. I feel like $1,000,000. Again, that rest that I had after my surgery was much needed. And I just, and just to kind of give a recap for those who are just new to this channel, I had my hysterectomy back in February, and it was an abdominal hysterectomy. This is after having 3 prior C-sections, okay? So this was the 4th time I was getting cut. And what they took out of me, I still can't believe. It was a 4-pound fibroid with a lot of little bitty other ones in there, but it was so disruptive to my life. I had heavy periods, definitely had low iron. I was eating a ton of ice. I was just feeling like something was not right down there. And again, I was in a transition. I had just moved to a new city. I was still trying to figure out my team, my resources, and like my gynecologist, my doctor. But I was just really lucky to find a doctor who listened to me and heard my cry, because those periods were just becoming out of control. Again, filling up a super tampon and an overnight pad during my cycle, and having sometimes accidents, which I hadn't had for years, since I was a wee bear. So it was a mess. So fast forward about 7.5 months, I now have fully healed from the outside. My incision is healed and life is amazing. Best thing I could have done. I feel really terrible for those who have to suffer through fibroids and all the things that a lot of females go through, but I'm just saying life gets better. Okay, so right now I am back at work full time. Work is definitely back at 100%. I had some things over the summer that I had shared with my son. We are going through him getting through recruiting right now for football. So stay tuned for that video. It kind of shows me on the go. Like now that I feel like having a lot of energy, I feel amazing. It is me on the go. And I just want to share that. So make sure you watch that video too. It's coming up very soon, probably shortly after this video. Okay, so, let's talk about mental health. Okay, so I just celebrated my 45th birthday. Go Virgos, Virgos in the house. I feel amazing being 45. I feel smarter than ever. I feel wise. I feel like I can take over the world, take on any challenges that come my way because I have a little wisdom under my belt. okay? But what they have not shared with me, and what I definitely want to warn you and just talk about in this era, is what happens to your body going through perimenopause, okay? Perimenopause is no joke. Although I feel good, my anatomy feels good, my incisions heal well, I was not expecting going through the mental fog that happens during perimenopause. I also was not prepared on how tired and exhausting I would be. Mind you, I have kids, friend. I have 3 kids. They are adult, basically young adults, okay? So I'm usually, taking them to some practice, watching some game inside or outside. With my husband working, he also, has responsibilities. And so between all of those things, I'm just tired in general, but just even more tired where I'm like taking naps on the weekend, okay? My body just feels sore for just no reason. Like I'm getting old. So I wasn't expecting that. So I'm definitely going to be doing some more research on perimenopause and the effects and impact on that. Because with the brain fog, the things that I wasn't expecting on, like if I'm thinking clearly, I was just forgetting so many things. And I'm not a forgetful person, but I was forgetting so much. And, it's not like me to be that way. And so my mom came to visit, and she was basically telling me like all the signs and symptoms that she was having. And I just now have more of awareness about this phase, like what happens when you don't have a period, what happens to your estrogen. Those are things, I'm not a medical doctor, this is not a medical advice, but just read up on like perimenopause, what happens to you during that time. That was a tricky one. Okay, so with the perimenopause, I definitely evaluating like my sensualness. How sexy do I feel as a woman? What is my sexual appetite like? All of those things are also kind of a mental health check that I want you guys to also be aware of, because in that is just what are the conversations you're having with your partner. So that's kind of my second tip. Let's talk about sex and how does having a hysterectomy play a part in that. So because I'm tired, I definitely feel like my mood has changed, where I'm just not as into it to want to have sex anymore all the time. Okay, because I feel like before I was really good with just, having a good sexual appetite. But because I'm like more exhausted, the wheel is kind of down a little bit, not gonna lie. And it's nothing to do with my husband. He's amazing. He still turns me on, all those fun things, but I'm just not into it as per how I was before. But stay tuned, because I have some things that I found to help, okay? So what I've been doing is I've really been intentional about having more intimacy throughout the day, making sure that not only am I doing the calls and texts, but I found some like really good like a bath routine, some smell goods, just to kind of really help my mental mood when it comes to how I feel about myself, and that sexiness that is required to like feel good about doing those due diligence and doing the do. Okay, can't really say much on YouTube, but it's important. And I'm still young, and I know my mom tells me that sex will change, it becomes less important as you get older. Like, I just wasn't prepared for that. How are you guys feeling, friend? Are you feeling like this, friend? Leave me a comment. Do you feel like your sexual appetite has changed the older you've gotten? And maybe it's perimenopause. Maybe it has nothing to do with the hysterectomy. Maybe it's just that time of my body trying to figure out what's going on. Because I do feel like my body knows that something is missing. Something is missing. And I'm feeling like my body is working a little extra to figure out what that is. And I think that's why I'm getting a lot more tired than usual. I think. Again, I am not a medical professional, but I'm just telling you how I'm feeling. So, you know, are you feeling like that, friend? Do you feel, for those who've had a hysterectomy, do you feel like your body kind of triggers different now that your hysterectomy is done and you have no more fibroids? So that's another thing too that I'm just really curious about. I'm curious. I want to learn more. I also want to know how you're feeling too. Okay. Okay, so now let's talk about work-life balance. Work-life balance after having a hysterectomy. Back to my 9 to 5. I'm thankful that I do get remote days, but at the same time, guys, again, I just want to be home more. And I'm a social butterfly. But my work is interesting and amazing. I love my job. It's great. So I've just had to talk and communicate more with my boss when I'm feeling a little exhausted, when I'm feeling like I was, doing a little too much. Like month 4, month 5, I think I started to feel that more because I like rushed back into work. And so I kind of slowed down a little bit. And I just, communicated, hey, I have brain fog. I'm not feeling 100% at this moment, but just give me a minute. I just need a little bit of flexibility. So I think that's another thing too. Like, you kind of learn after hysterectomy to kind of slow down and ease your way into it. After 6 months, you still have to ease your way into it. So that's just like, it's normal to be tired still. It's normal to still feel sore. You've lost a few organs, perhaps. You've lost some organs, okay? So you really do need to still take your time. You do. So work-life balance is important because you still can add in your exercise. I've been walking more every day just to kind of get that exercise back on track. And I think my kids have done a lot of service to me because they're all athletes and I have been helping them get through a ton of athletic stuff like nutrition. Like we're really big on nutrition. So I've been, finding new things to cook and figuring out food and how food impacts our energy and health. That has been such a great adventure. And so in that work-life balance, I've also learned that having a lot of sleep, making sure you rest 10 hours, 9 hours, that's important. Take your naps, and then make sure that you're hydrating. Drink a ton of water. I think that's really helped me because I've been trying to move a lot more just to get some more energy. But the hydration is also important. Okay. So from a health standpoint, I've gone back to my doctor. I've checked in with my doctor. It's time for me to get my colonoscopy and all those things that happen when you're 45. So just as a reminder, this is October. It is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Please be sure to get your mammogram. Check on your colonoscopy because colonoscopy is one of those other silent killers that's also important for us to stay on top of, okay? So that has been a thing that also from a health standpoint, when I talked to my doctor, I talked about like vitamins, like having vitamin D supplements. So I've added a weekly vitamin D supplement. Also, again, with hydration, just to make sure I've been hydrating. And another thing that I did, which was pretty cool for me and my family, I did a DNA weight loss or weight improvement challenge. I think it's been important for me to understand my body and then also my kids' body, how nutrition works for us, okay? So this DNA test gives you like a 4-part summary of how you respond to food, how do you respond to sleep, how sleep is important, how hydration is important, and also exercise is important. So we've been on that challenge, first of all, just to know what my body is doing, and then also how I can support my family because like meal prepping, cooking, we don't all have the same needs. And I'm just learning this through this DNA test. I'll drop a link in the comments, guys, so that you guys can just see if there's one in your area. Again, it's a DNA-based weight loss program, and it's not really for weight loss. It's really just to understand what your body needs to thrive. Okay, so that's been important. So go back to see your doctor, check in. Like, you don't need a gynecologist anymore now that you have a hysterectomy, but I definitely needed to keep in touch with my gynecologist, because at first I was having a lot of UTIs after sex, but definitely subsided. Now I feel a ton better. I feel like I've gotten a lot more support on how to manage UTIs after a hysterectomy. That was one of the things I was not expecting. Okay, so let's also talk about some of the things that have been helpful. I can't wait to share. In the midst of helping my son, who is, he just got his first D1 scholarship offer for football, and in the midst of trying to help him maintain his weight, because he is a 6'5", 290-pound offensive lineman, and he definitely is preparing himself and for being a collegiate athlete. And so a part of that recruitment process too is staying strong, making sure he's limber. Well, in the midst of that, I learned about this cognition support supplement for football that I was thinking that I would let him try, because he's now 17. And I said, okay, let me see if this will work for him. So I tried lion's mane supplement for him. And with this, it helps with cognition. And in doing research, I found a few more things that I have found to be so helpful. This Cordyceps M, oh my gosh, I don't know if you could see this. I'm gonna drop a link. You guys, going back to what I said about sexual health, intimacy, and then being in the mood. Well, I discovered, because I wanted to take the supplements before I gave them to my son to see how my body would react to this and if it was safe. So I took it with my tea. So you really only need 1 gram of this. And it is a mushroom that supports cognition. But in this, I discovered it helps with blood flow. And it also helps you get back in the mood. So I am definitely saying, for me, and this is not medical advice, I'm going to drop the link to this Cordyceps M. Again, this stuff has been amazing, okay? And on top of that, another mushroom supplement that I've tried is the Alchemy. It's also blend. It's also a blend that I use. It's got mushroom blends in it. But it's, I take 1 scoop of it and I take a little bit of my Cordyceps and I make it into a tea. I could add it into coffee. I could put it in a smoothie. But those two together have given me so much energy, to the point where if I want to rest and wind down on the weekend, I do not put those, put the mushroom supplements into my coffee. I don't, because I will be wired. So I discovered these mushrooms are amazing. Again, this is not medical advice, but for me, I definitely feel in the mood. And I'm saying on day 1, when I put this in my tea on day 1, immediately I feel horny. Okay. And I sipped some of my husband's coffee and he was like, "What did you put in my coffee?" It was really good. It was good. So those are just 2 things that I have found that have been very, very helpful for me. I would, you know, again, I don't recommend you try. Please talk to and consult with your doctor on anything that you're trying. But I have tried these mushrooms supplements. My son actually, it has so many different impacts on cognition. So from a attention standpoint, he's felt like even in school, he has more focus and energy over a longer period of time. It's so weird because you can be tired, but you still have energy throughout the day. It's a weird balance, but it works. It works. And I'm definitely going to be adding it. I got off Amazon. I'm going to continue to maintain this. Oops, sorry guys. Just a quick little pause. So I'm going to be maintaining this over time. I'm not going to get rid of my mushrooms is going to be a part of my daily supplements. Okay. All right. So I'll end on this. I have really discovered that it is time to do like a self-check on like all the things that are happening in the world. Check in with friends. I'm just so amazed how many women have reached out to me about having a hysterectomy. In fact, when I posted one of my videos, a colleague from work was like, I didn't know you were on YouTube. You know, it is one of those things that I just feel passionate about when it's time to share like hysterectomy and the things that women go through. You know, this is election season, and there are so many things happening and being said about women's health and the right to choose and all those things. Like, you know, vote your preference. I'm just saying, but when it comes to women's health, like, we have to be 10 toes down for each other. You know, everyone has different experiences, but we want to have good outcomes. We want to be able to live our life at its fullest, and I believe we matter. And so use your voice, take care of yourself. If something doesn't feel right, ask. Find an advocate if you don't have a strong enough voice to figure it out. Ask a friend to come with you. Talk to your spouse or your significant other about what you're feeling. Don't keep it to yourself. Don't keep it to yourself. There could be some things that are happening to your body that really needs attention. And so I'm just saying, you have to check in with yourself, meditate, whatever you need to do just to feel and listen to what your body is telling you to do. This journey has been amazing. Again, I've had a lot of ups and downs with just going fast, going slow, just making sure I'm listening to my body, trying to figure out like, who am I as a woman after all of this has happened to me. But on the end of it, and in a summary of how I can wrap up these last 7 months after my hysterectomy, is just life is amazing. And there's so many choices that I make every day that I am intentional about so that I can live my best life. Like I said in my first video, we all have an assignment here while we're on this earth, and I definitely want to fulfill my assignment. I thank God for giving me grace every single day, but I do know that I'm a part of this one body, and so are you. So just stay tuned, stay connected, and share it with a friend. And so that's it. That's all I have. That's my updates for my 7-month update. I think I'm going to come back and just share more things about being a wife, mom, and a founder. It's just so many gems that I'm getting from you. So thank you for visiting. Thank you for checking in. I just want you to know that I really am praying for you. I pray that you have a successful surgery and a speedy recovery. Until next time, guys, I'm out. Bye.
So let's talk about it with girl DD. Let's talk about it with girl DD. So let's talk about it with girl DD. Let's talk about it with girl DD. Yeah.